These are aubergine shoes. That's right, that's what melitzanes papoutsakia means in Greek. Little shoes to be precise. And the name was borrowed for the same dish in Turkish cuisine. So today I'm going to try both versions to see which one is better. Let's start with the Greek one, or at least the most common way this dish is prepared in Greece. After preheating the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, I'm going to cut 3 aubergines in half, lengthwise, and I'm going to score the open surface in a crisscross pattern. This should ensure that they cook more evenly. Then I'm going to brush them with olive oil, lightly salt them, and I'm going to roast them in the oven for 30 minutes with their cut part facing up. In the meantime, I'm going to blend 2 tomatoes. I'm also going to chop a small carrot and half an onion. I sauté them for 5 minutes in olive oil. Then I'm going to add 250 grams of minced beef, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a crushed garlic clove. I'm going to keep cooking it until the meat browns. Then I'm going to add 50 milliliters of red wine. Once it's evaporated, I'll add 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, 1 bay leaf, half a teaspoon of thyme, a pinch of black pepper, half a teaspoon of salt, and the blended tomatoes. I'll let it simmer for 20 minutes while I prepare a bechamel sauce, or rather a simplified version without butter. In a saucepan, off the heat, I combine half a liter of milk with 40 grams of cornstarch. I also add half a teaspoon of salt, a pinch of black pepper, and a bit of nutmeg. Then I transfer it to the hob and I keep stirring periodically until the sauce thickens. At this point, I can turn off the heat and add an egg yolk. The meat ragout is also ready, so I can take it off the hob too. And I can take the aubergines out of the oven as well. I'm going to press down the middle of each one of them with the back of a spoon to create an indentation, as if they were little boats. You don't want to press the edges, as they will need to hold the filling. Here comes the ragout. I'm going to top it with the bechamel sauce and with about 60 grams of grated gouda. Typically, they would either use Gruyere or kefalotiri, which should be similar to pecorino. So it's up to you whether you prefer a milder or a stronger taste, and cheddar would definitely work as well. Sometimes they would also sprinkle some breadcrumbs on top, but I'm transferring this one to the oven as it is for 30 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. And they're ready. Don't they look delicious with that creamy bechamel sauce topping aubergine and meat ragout? Pretty easy to make and absolutely delicious. And now, let's check out the Turkish version, patlıcan papoutsakia, or once again what one could say is the most common recipe used in Turkey, because variations of this dish exist in both countries. Like for the Greek version, I will start by cutting 3 aubergines in half. I'll boil them in salted water until soft, so more or less 15 minutes. Otherwise, you can roast them in the oven like I did for the Greek version, 30 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. While they cook, I'm going to chop an onion. These are 2 tomatoes I briefly scalded in boiling water so that I can skin them more easily. Removing the skin is optional, of course. I'm going to chop them and set them aside. I'm also going to grate 200 grams of kashkaval cheese. Yep, there's no meat, but a lot more cheese in this recipe. I found this in a Turkish shop, but you can also buy it in some supermarket chains here in the UK. Otherwise, Edam or even mild cheddar will do. I can drain the aubergines now. Once they've cooled down, I will scoop out the flesh. Then I will mince it because I'm going to use it for the filling. I sauté the onion in olive oil, about 5 minutes. Then I add in the minced aubergines, the chopped tomatoes, a crushed garlic clove, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of sugar, and a pinch of black pepper. I'll preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius while it keeps cooking for 5 minutes on low heat. Now we'll add 3/4 of the grated cheese, and I'll stir until it melts. Then I'll turn off the heat and I'll add in a beaten egg. That's it, the filling is ready. So I'll line up the aubergine skins on an oven tray with parchment paper. I'll distribute the mixture on them. And then I'll sprinkle the remaining cheese on top. They're ready for the oven, where they will bake for 15 minutes. And here they are. Look at that golden cheese crust. Soft and tasty, they melt in your mouth. So, is there a winner? Let's start by saying that they're both very good and quite easy to make. The Turkish version has a sweeter and more delicate taste, but overall I think I slightly prefer the Greek one because meat and bechamel sauce give it an extra layer of flavor and make it into a more satisfying meal. Of course, you can mix and match between the two methods and ingredients, and once again, the cheese you pick is going to impact the final flavor, so you can go for mature cheese if you're looking for a stronger taste. So, are you going to wear aubergine shoes for dinner? Leave a comment if you are. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. It's free and it would truly help my channel. So, where are we going next?